Hello, everybody. Welcome. We got Matthew, Kevin, Dennis Healy, who is, we got to give him a shout out.
Yeah.
Turned 61 yesterday, everybody. Happy
Thank you.
birthday to Dennis.
Thank you very much.
He told me that now when he walks by a cemetery, guys run after him with shovels.
They
And
do.
he said, yeah, that's what happens after you're 60. We
Yes.
got TC up in here, but he's got no video, but he will comment in the chat and we'll one of us will read what he has respond with. Tonight we had a topic that not everybody in this room may do. I so we're gonna do it anyway. It's bumper music. What do you KJs use for bumper music? And this is a there ain't no right or wrong answer here. It's
No.
just right. Dennis, start it off. What do you use for
I
bumper
use I
music?
use a mix of
First of
soft
all,
rock.
first of all, first of all, because we got a lot of newcomers watching this YouTube, explain what bumper music is
Bumper
first.
music is music you play in between your karaoke singers. So when the time it took for a karaoke to stop his song and then sit down, the next person that gets up is traveling up to the mic. You play some kind of music to fill the silence, so there's no silence. And
Right.
but I always play like some soft rock, nothing that was danceable because you didn't want people getting up and then dancing in between the singers. You just wanted filler music, something that was just soft, something that was playable, something that people liked. If it was a country crowd, I played countries, semi-slow dance songs, or if it was pop, I played pop. But it was just something to fill that silence, and that's what I did anyway.
Nice.
Yeah, like sing along type stuff, maybe too.
Sing along, but not danceable because you didn't want
Right.
people dancing.
Yep.
Right.
But even the sing along, I would think that you could get that to expand to where everybody don't want to stop singing it.
Well,
Now you got
yeah,
the singer up there waiting.
yeah. No,
And,
you
yeah.
just kept it. I kept it down. I kept the bumping music at like half volume instead of full volume.
Hmm.
So it was just enough to fill the silence. That's all I wanted to do was fill silence.
Matt, what do you do?
Yeah, same thing. It all depends on the crowd that's in front of me. Um,
Yeah.
and you know, it depends on the night too, and what kind of crowd I'm bringing in because some nights I might have a crowd that's like really into the country stuff or whatever, but then there's other nights where I've got a younger crowd and they like the more current stuff or the throwbacks like from the 2010s and whatnot, like Flow Rider Low and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But then there's other nights where it's just like a grab bag kind of a thing where it's just like, well, whatever, just kind of a open format type of thing where you just kind of throw on whatever and it's just like Dennis was saying, just kind of fill the silence or whatever. And it doesn't have to be anything like, life changing or earth shattering or whatever, just enough, it's just something to keep the energy level up until you start the next song.
Interesting.
But then there's other times too where I'll, like if I've got this one singer that comes to two of my shows. She calls herself Sparkles. And I don't do this all the time, but at least maybe once a night. And she wears these outfits that are like, like sequiny,
Yeah,
and they're
sparkly.
Did she bedazzle them?
she does. She's a bedazzler, yeah. And so she likes it once in a while, it kind of feeds her ego a little bit when I put on like the Stripper by David Rose.
All right.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, so she likes that. Kind of She,
I used to
she
use
goes
that
around.
for the garter.
I did too.
So,
Yeah,
That's
for
the same song I
weddings.
used
Yeah.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Kevin, are you
So
thinking about maybe using bumper music? Or I know you
Uh,
said earlier before we
I
started recording that.
I don't usually do. I guess my idea is basically when they're done singing, it's like, all right, let's give them a round of applause. Woo, and then they're going to sit down. And then I have a come on down song that I do. And so it's like, all right, it's Jim, come on down. You're the next participant. So I have music that plays as they're coming up. If for some reason they're delayed, I'll do sound effects like maybe the Jeopardy waiting, the do 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 do,
Yeah.
oh
or
yeah,
maybe if they're slow, I'll say paging Robert, and then have like a beep beep, kind of a like a doctor kind of thing. So I'll do shtick,
Mhm.
not necessarily songs. Maybe if the person coming up is named something that ties into a song, or maybe the song they're going to sing, maybe I'll sort of do a funny, tied into that.
Okay.
So I don't just play music to play music. If I'm going to play music, that's because I got a small enough list of karaoke singers that I'll move into a dance set. Usually, some sort of line dance or something that everybody loves. And depending on the crowd, it could be more of a classic kind of a genre song. Could be more of my, get low, windows to the wall kind of thing. Just depends on what kind of crowd I'm working with that night. And then that'll be my dance set. But some nights I got like 20 plus people waiting. So it's like I don't really want to take away from them by, doing a dance set. So I just keep chugging away. If it finally comes down, I'll break into a dance set. But specific bumpers musically, no. Usually I try to do something humorous. Like one night I had like a bazillion Johns in there. And so it's like, all right, tonight or now it's John number 3. Come on down, John 3, or John 316, or just have fun with it.
Yeah, right.
That's what I try to
yeah.
do.
Kind of like being on The Price is Right. John number 7.
Yeah. So that's what I do for my,
Awesome,
exit,
Kevin.
and then the next one coming up. That's what I do. And the one time I didn't do the song for one of my regulars, he come up and he's like, "You didn't play our come up song." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I figured you were a regular. You're probably, you're tired of it." No, no, actually, I sort of like it. It makes me feel special. So so it's like, and I usually always do the song early in the night, especially if it's a new person, because I want them to get the effect of being DJ K'd, karaoke'd. So I always do it for them. But later on in the night, I'll just sort of roll into just, just my voice, doing my, my shtick, come on down, you're the next participant. So that's what I usually do. Now, I'm not saying I won't work into the other. It's just right now for me, they seem to like it. I like doing it. It's one of those things where I like to build a routine, so you don't even have to really think. It just automatic.
Okay.
And then I'll like, okay, let's tweak this. Let's add a song, maybe a specific song, or maybe I'll make a list of bumper songs that maybe are popular with certain names or certain songs they like to sing, something to that effect.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
good.
I had a night where there was one night where I had a guy that he was wearing like a Gilligan hat. I
Yeah.
try to be kind of observant of my singers or whatever, and this guy was wearing a Gilligan hat. I've never seen him before, but I just figured I'd have a little fun with him when he was coming up, and I played the Gilligan's Island theme. Yeah. So then, and that night turned into a night where, because like everybody's like, well, we like the TV themes, we'll keep playing the different, and I've got a boatload of TV themes in my library, my DJ music. So, like, yeah, keep playing the TV themes. We like that, So that was fun.
I've even thought of maybe incorporating that, not so much into KJ, but I could if it's a slow time. is taking like during cocktail at a wedding and saying, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing 70s TV shows. First one up here, is the first table release for dinner. Just having something, doing a little something different, fun. I'm always up for different things. I'm trying to incorporate my friend if he watches this, and he'll laugh. I'm trying to incorporate a dunk tank into cocktail and dinner
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
because I'm out
For
there.
a wedding?
I'm always outside the box, man. I'm always outside the box.
I don't know about wedding, man. But
I can see the liability now.
oh yeah.
oh,
I
yeah.
pulled his head up when the bubbles stopped. Don't worry.
You want to have electrical equipment and water. You want to combine electrical equipment and water. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good combo.
My bumper music is it's you know what? I'm all over the map with it. Really, I am. It's just sometimes it's gonna be something comical but most of the time I try to just keep that vibe going.
Yeah.
Or I'll do a bumper a song that kind of will work into that next singer's song.
Okay.
Like kind of get them ready if they're gonna do like a hard rock or
Right. Yep.
I'm gonna pump up a hard rock song as he's coming up just to kind of get them in the mode of hard rock. Because
Right.
once I
Right.
kick them up, maybe that's silly to you guys, but that's how I do it. And my main thing is like Dennis was saying, he plays like soft background, like pop music and Matt,
You
I
would
think you
not.
said you do that too, but I I am the opposite. And I don't care if they try and get up and let them dance. I'll let them dance for 45 seconds. And
Yeah.
even the singer's like, no, let them keep dancing.
Yeah.
So I will use bangers for it's because it's all karaoke. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
And not everybody in there.
Especially if it's a
wants
slow
the
night too. 'Cause
karaoke.
if you have like maybe 4 or 5 singers, it's not a big deal to
Yeah, you don't want to beat the death of karaoke. Yeah.
not a bad
And
idea to do a dance set kind of a thing.
You got to keep that vibe. You got to, if you don't have one yet that night, well,
Create one.
damn it, it's time to create the vibe because that's what keeps them coming back. We talked
Exactly.
about some of this last week too.
We did.
What keeps them coming back. And believe me, if there's no vibe in that room, people are ready to,
You're gonna leave,
leave or
not come back. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, you
it's
can't have
not.
it's only if there's only 5 singers, you can't have the 5 singers singing over and over and over again either.
Right.
Well, that's the thing, Dennis.
Yeah.
You got to spread that out.
Right.
And if that means 2 regular songs in between
Right.
them,
Right.
you got to do what you got to do
Right.
to stretch that night
Right.
and get by. But like somebody saying, I'll just give you for an example. Somebody's saying Journey, Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin' Thursday. So I came out of that with Don't Stop Believin' for a bumper song.
Okay.
Like sometimes I'll use the same artist
That's a good idea. Yeah.
just to, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but who cares? It's bumper music. But like I try to pick the best of the best for my bumper music,
Right.
and I do it for a reason, for the vibe in the room.
Right.
You've got to make it exciting,
Right. And it also depends on the number of singers you have. If you have 35 singers, you're not going to waste any time between songs.
Right.
But if you have, 5 singers, then you need to do something different.
Exactly.
Yeah, my basic rule of thumb is for bumper music is upbeat and stuff that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Contemporary classics, anything. But you don't want it to really dance to it.
Right.
It's like a toe tapper, as my friend likes to say. I call him a humdinger.
Sure.
But that's the thing. I will be crazy enough to put dance music only
Yeah.
because they're not going to get that dance music at all that night.
Right.
So give them a little 45-minute, 90-second, not 45-minute, 45-second to 90-second taste of it. And it keeps the vibe going. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And they're happy with that.
Mhm.
Let's face it, when somebody, regular DJ, which I think we all here are that too, we're not just karaoke jocks.
Right.
When you got a dance floor at a say a birthday party, or honestly, how many people come up from that first note, stay till the last? It's usually they'll come up halfway through, dance to the end, or come up at that first note and then walk away because somebody waved to them. So you know what? Give them a minute of the song because that's all really what they want. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I love this song, and let them have their little moment, their minute, whatever it is, and then
Right.
go on to the next singer. That's kind of what I do, and you don't need to agree or disagree, whatever. It's just I like to keep that vibe going all night long.
Mhm.
And my
That's an
last
important
song,
thing. Yeah.
And maybe
my
throw in a bit of nostalgia type of a feeling,
yeah,
with
yeah.
It's
because you
better
might have
than
some
dead
people in
air.
there that are you might have some people in the crowd that are like our age, Eric, that are like in their 50s or whatever. And
Nobody's our age.
I'm older
they
than
might
all
be
you, man.
they might be into the 80s or the 90s or whatever, and so and some of that stuff is considered old school now, and
Hey, Matt, did that coconut hit you in the head, by the way? The one that
it
I threw at you? I was behind you. I pulled one off the tree.
Okay.
I like your background. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking.
But it's not.
Yeah,
It's not a
Hawaii is a
background.
nice place to be.
It's not a background. He lives there now. He moved. That's his window
Oh, he
behind him.
moved there.
He's got this
Oh.
big picture window behind him. It's very nice.
Well, anyway, like you
That's
guys were talking about the bumper music, I think that's really important because it blends the show. It keeps the show on a certain level. If you have dead music or dead air in between, it really kills it.
Yeah.
I found. And you can only say so many things during the time that you've announced somebody to come up till the time that they're finished singing till the next person comes up. You only have, 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe of music playing, and that's about it. At least that's what I find in my shows, and I've been doing this for 37 years.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the same. I have quieted down a lot on the microphone. I don't say as much as I used to. And I think it's just because I'm getting tired and things like that, possibly. But yeah, it's interesting how you do that. And like what Ken was saying, that he doesn't have bumper music, but he has a certain thing that he likes to say. That that's interesting. I would think that would be really difficult to talk your way through that time frame, that whole time frame in between people.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because Eric and I were talking. I got home late from my show last night, and Eric and I were up late, and so we had a little phone chat when I got home. And Eric, why don't you talk about that? We were talking about this guy that he knows that's out his way. That is he still doing shows, or is he retired from it now, or getting back into it?
Well, you know what? He stopped because of health reasons. Now his health has gotten a little better. Big Don. I believe,
Yep.
Dennis, you may know Big Don.
I've heard of him about him a lot. Yeah.
He was on our show here on the Zoom a couple weeks back, I think,
Yeah.
a couple, 3 weeks. But this guy, when he did a karaoke show, and this is something I think is very, very difficult, kind of like what Kevin does. And if you can get away with this, great. but he never did bumper music ever. He always found a way, like, all right, let's get Dennis up. You're next, Dennis. Come on up, Dennis. So while you're coming up, he'll read off something from the menu or something from the specials that they have on that night, or even maybe even just poke fun of somebody in the audience that he knew he could beat up, if he had to. But it was he
He had to
he
get gas.
yeah, exactly. He could do this. Now I used to do that because I could do that too,
You're good at that.
but I used to be that way. Now it's the older you get, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
now the crowds are getting younger, right? And that's
Got there,
true.
right? And they're
They're
less
getting
patient.
younger. They don't want to hear me gabbing. They want to hear the bumper music, you
They
know?
want to hear bump music. They want to hear someone up next singing, and
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah,
then,
that's what I found as well.
yeah, no, that's really what they want. Now, if you can get away with that, like I asked Big Don to come in here tonight, but he never even read my message. I hope he's all right. But because he did it, and he would come up with some absurd things.
I was okay. Yeah, he's getting something to drink here. But anyway, I was fine for, the first 15, 20 years, I would say. And it got to the point where I slowly stopped talking, to the
yeah,
point where I mean, I still talk, obviously, but not as much as I used to. I used to be able to crack jokes and keep people going. Matt, you've been to my shows at Yanni's. You remember how things used to be. I used to
I
be able
I
to just
actually never
roll
went.
things.
I've never been to your show at Yanner Rallies, actually.
You never were there? I thought you were there one time.
Nope.
Once or twice. No, you weren't. Okay, I'm
Mm-mm.
sorry. Well,
No.
anyway, I used to be able just to roll with the punches, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it, and things like that. And I think as I aged, I kind of changed a little bit, and I think I've gotten tired to a certain degree as well. So you do change as you go by, and as the generations change and the customer changes, the customers don't want to hear me talk. They want to sing. They
yeah,
want to get up there quick. They want to get their song on, and they want to do multiple songs at a time if they can, which of
yeah.
course I don't allow. But
Right. Exactly.
it
Though they can't. They're already done, and they want the next song already.
yeah, they're already right there waiting for the next song to come up or asking, when's my
Yeah.
next song coming up?
When am I up next? When am I on that?
Yep.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
am I up next?
Yep. There's even some nights where um I found that if you have a crowd that's um singers of that are right up there, like right away, like it's like they know when they're up, because I've got the ticker that goes across the bottom of the screen
Yeah,
that tells people when they're up. And so the next singer knows when they're coming up, you know what I mean? And so, like,
I did the same
if
thing.
they're standing there right there, if they're right there when the current song is done and they're ready to go, you don't even need a bumper song. It's just like, boom,
No, you
just,
don't. You just right, unless you need a 30-second break or something between songs.
yeah. So,
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like I try to just keep the music playing at all times in between singers. The way the software is set up, it does it automatically. I don't have to mess with it. Once it's set, I can just set it and forget it. And that's the one thing I always said I would never do as a host, is set music and forget it.
yeah.
So many hosts have gotten away with tuning their boards as people are singing, and making real slight adjustments. I do tend to do that still, but that's about to the degree that I've done it. I really slow down a lot with some of those adjustments and changes and things like that. but I'm still on the board with my right hand, making fine adjustments as I need to, or as I hear something's, a little off, or maybe they're a little bit loud, and bring them back down, whatever.
I do the same
Um,
thing. Same thing.
Pardon?
I do the exact same thing. Like you said, keep the
Oh,
hand
yeah.
on the board.
Yeah,
Listen to those
yeah.
little, where you need to add or where you need to subtract from or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You're working with a little bit of effects or what have you.
Yeah.
I know some hosts don't use effects at all either, and I
Yeah.
find that to be really odd.
You
Yeah.
got to help the people out the best you can.
Exactly, exactly. And
You
the
make them
thing
sound like
is,
$1,000,000. They love that. They love, that you can
they
make them
want to
sound.
sound like a superstar,
They
and
do. Yeah.
the more you can, or the closest you can get them to that, the better. And I mean, I've been very lucky and very blessed to have gotten good equipment, and I think I've got a good ear for sound. I've been awarded for the last 13 years from the city that I live in. I got a
Nice.
lot of good things going for me with that, and just because of my sound. So I'm really happy about that.
You should
And
be.
huh?
You should be proud of that. Excellent.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing, just a pat on the back, saying, you're doing a good job and keep up the good work. And I appreciate that, because we don't get much thanks in this business,
No, no, don't.
where it's a pretty thankless job, and it's a pretty stressful job. And I see DJ Eric is back, so let's give it back to him.
Excellent.
I'm back. You ever have like a little saliva in your mouth and it
Yeah.
somehow? Oh my God, I was keeling over here. I thought I was
did
going to
you
have to call
What,
911.
did you swallow wrong or something? Did go
Something.
down the,
I don't.
went
Yeah,
down the wrong tube?
I guess. And they say you only have one pipe here. I don't believe that. But
Oh,
anyway, whatever pipe it wasn't good. But wow.
glad you're okay.
So
Yes.
let's do one more quick thing before we wrap it up.
Sure.
Because I think we really wiped out the bumper music. And I'm going to start with Matt because I
Okay.
already know Matt's answer, I think. Let's just say you
We
wake
got-
up one day and you're sick, right? Your venue will just cancel you, right? You don't have to get a fill in
Right.
because it's Matt or nothing, right? At
Right.
your place.
Yep.
Kevin, how about you? Have you had to have someone go in for you yet?
Have I had to? No. My uncle has previous experience doing karaoke, but he has not been tutored on how to operate what I have versus what he has, which was the old Pioneer deck, and you put the discs in and all that. So he has not been schooled on that. So if he were to get the training, then I could have him do it. I am looking for some other people to help me for wedding stuff too. And I told that person's like, look, if you want to get more lucrative into it, I can show you how to do karaoke. I can try to expand the karaoke market and get you your own event. Or if it's an event on the day I'm already doing one, you'd have your own. Or if I'm sick, you could fill in. So I'm trying to use that as incentive to get people to be willing to be roadies, and being able to expand their monetary gain.
Nice. Dennis, did you? Yeah, I think you had some.
I had a partner. Yeah, I
right?
had a partner that we kind of worked for each other, covered each other if we needed to.
Now, what if you both went down?
And we were shit out of luck, man. I
Like
dragged
you
my
didn't
ass.
have a network out there. You could just call somebody and say
I did. I had a
you
couple people I could
available?
call,
Yeah,
but if I would drag my ass there if I had to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, we've all been there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I've done that for weddings.
yeah.
I'm not going to do that
can't
for a
cancel a wedding, man.
karaoke
You
show.
can't cancel a wedding. You got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to a wedding, I'll roll myself in a hospital bed if I have
Yeah,
to
exactly.
to get it done.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
really, because there ain't no rewind.
No,
that thing.
No.
karaoke show. It's
That's I had the venue cover me.
right.
Yeah.
So
But there was a time where, if I could just clarify, nowadays, if I get sick or something like that or whatever, yeah, the venue will just cancel, like we said before. But there's been times where in the past I've had some hospital stays in the past, and there was one time where I had a wedding booked, and I was in the hospital, and I needed to find somebody to cover that because and I want to say I think it was TC that did it for me,
Yeah.
Yeah,
if
it
I'm not
was.
mistaken.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I covered
So,
that. I've actually been very lucky throughout most of my life until the last 5 years or so with health. Out of the about 20 years, I only missed 2 shows, and I canceled both of those. I've been lucky. The last couple of years have caught up with me, however, and now my health is not very good. But I'm still doing shows. I've been at my current bar for 14 years. The longest run I've had is 20 years at the same place.
Right.
So it's, I got a lot of longevity in my shows. I don't have many shows, but I got a lot of longevity in the ones that I've been at.
That's
that's
excellent.
what matters. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what matters. We gotta wrap this up, but
right.
before we do, who wants to spit out a couple of sponsors?
yeah, I throw some out there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we got Pro X, we've got EV, we've got DJ Event Planner, Evolve. Let's see, no, that's EV.
Made,
The same thing. Yeah.
made by
yeah.
DJs or something.
No,
Made by DJs.com.
Made by DJs.com. And you know what? And this is what I was waiting for you to say. Because later on, when this is up on YouTube, you're going to see all these sponsors scrolling.
Yep.
Click on that, made by DJs.com. You're going to be very surprised what you see on there. It's awesome.
Okay.
Awesome stuff.
Okay.
So just check that website out.
Odyssey is on there too. And there's a few other ones. So, but yeah, we've got some big names backing us up here. So
Nice.
keeping this room up and running.
Sweet.
Thank you to John Young for making this happen, and his son Michael, who prepares all the stuff for YouTube and shoots it up there. And we've been getting content every week up on YouTube thanks to Michael. He's a busy man. So thank you, guys. Until next week.
All right.
Peace out. We'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Happy birthday, Dennis.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.